Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have a very special conversation that we are about to embark on here inside Lippert Scouts, Lippert Captains, all the Lippert communities. Thanks for joining us. And we are joined today by Grayson and Harrison, who are making a little bit of an adventure, not just out of their lives right now, but allowing others to share in their adventures. Grayson and Harrison, how are you?
We're great. Thanks so much for having us, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to get into a little bit today about a new series coming from Harvest Hosts, the Adventure series that you two are a part of. We're going to get into a little bit of your travels, what made you choose the life that you're leading. As many could probably tell right now, behind them is their van. That is their travel buddy, if you will, but also their home right now, I believe. Do I have that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. I want to get into the adventure series here, but what made you choose van life, traveling, and are you full-time in this right now?
Yes, we are full-time. We kind of got into the idea of van life during the pandemic when, things shut down and people started looking at traveling and jobs got transferred to remote and things like that. So it just came into a good opportunity. Harrison was the big van life guy, and he was interested in doing the van life. Kind of convinced me to. We kind of agreed. We're like, all right, let's get a van and do some weekend trips. Harrison brought it up, and 3 days later, we pulled the trigger and got a van. He was like, we have to do it right now before she changes her mind. But we did that for a little bit on and off, just doing weekend trips. And we fell in love with it. So we built a second van, and we've been living in it full-time since January.
Oh, wow. Full-time since January. And that's always one of my questions, is because it's rare that you see both people in a relationship probably have the same idea, hey, no matter what happens, no matter who I'm with, I'm going camping or I'm going traveling, and this is how I'm going to do it exactly. There's always one that has to convince the other a little bit. So Harrison, when you were doing that convincing, were there any obstacles that you had to overcome, or was it relatively easy?
I'm not sure there were huge obstacles. 2020 was a rather boring year, so it was not hard to entertain her. So I, pulled up some cool YouTube videos, showed her some of these awesome van conversions that you can find online, and for the most part, she had no idea what a van could truly be. It's not really just roughing it. So when she saw, what it could be, she was all for it. So, I didn't give her time to change her mind and really sprung for it.
Was it subtle? Were you dropping little hints? Were you bringing up some YouTube videos about van life and, oh, this seems interesting? Or how was the pace going into that conversation and eventual lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think I've been interested in it for years. I love looking at the conversions. I'm a handy guy and I really enjoy all of that. And, I had shown her some photos over the years, but never really kind of taken the initiative to start convincing, if you will. And then, once we were in Montana, it was kind of a cold day. We were by the fire inside, and I just pulled up a video, and she was like, oh, that's really cool. So, we watched another, and that really got the ball rolling.
We spent the whole night just binge watching YouTube videos of van lifers and things. And I was just amazed at the van life community and everything that it could be and all the adventures. And I had always wanted to travel. So after seeing that and hearing Harrison share his excitement about it, I was, all on board.
Were you pretty gung-ho about the van specifically? Had you looked into other options as far as trailers, fifth wheels, or any other type of traveling apparatus, if you will?
That's a great question. We did not really consider anything else. We wanted it to be rather maneuverable, which is why we sprung for the van.
And maneuverable, why? For the locations that you want to visit, or just for ease of transitioning from, driving a regular car or truck?
The transition is definitely a bonus, but we had no clue where we were going to find ourselves. And the easier it was to drive and the more capable that it was off-road, the better. So we just wanted versatility, and the van seemed to kind of fit the bill more than a lot of other options out there. And we didn't have a tow vehicle, and there would have been larger or multiple additional purchases, and I really wanted to do the conversion myself. So,
and also being able to fit into a standard parking spot was really big for us. We're a little bit bigger, but we wiggle our way into it and it works. But that was kind of important, just like being able to get around parking lots and things like that, because we do find ourselves camping in like Walmart parking lots and things like that sometimes. So it makes it very convenient.
And you have you have that fitted with all the tanks that you would necessarily need if you're camping in Walmart parking lots. Is this boondockable? You can live in that van without having to hook up to anything?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have, really, we're 100% self-contained. So we have 42 gallons of fresh water. We have a 10-gallon gray tank. We're a pretty electric heavy van, so we don't have any propane. We have an induction cooktop, a microwave, toaster oven. It's all kind of stored in there. We have a composting toilet. We have a nice little shower. We have a hydronic heating system. It's all inclusive.
I'm glad you brought up the shower. I want to get into some of the other things that you said there too. But when I was going through your Instagram, because you have some photos up on your Instagram of the travels, and we'll let the people know where they can find that as well. But I believe you call it a shower and a shelf. Is that still the case? What is a shower and a shelf?
Yeah, so we call it a shower and a bench, and we have a bench that's about 24 by 24, and you can take off the cushion, take off the top to the bench, and on the inside there's a shower pan and the vinyl tile walls on it, and then it's kind of exactly what you would think. It's like a little bird bath of a shower. So it's a great way to just rinse off, or you can pull up a curtain and have a more intensive shower, but it's a nice convenient way to stay fresh and clean without having to have a more formal shower somewhere. But we do have an outdoor shower as well, so it's another big plus.
It's really nice for when we're boondocking, because like most of the time when we're in cities, we choose to just go shower at Planet Fitness or a gym. But when we're boondocking, we don't necessarily want to go into a town that could be like an hour plus away. After a long hike, you're feeling kind of gross, and it's just want to spray down really quick, and so it's really nice to be able to have that option.
Absolutely. And when you start thinking of what needs to go into the van and thinking of all these things, did you have experience camping or going in travel trailers or any other type of vehicle to know that, okay, I need a gray tank, I need a freshwater, I need a waste tank? Like, how did you learn that you need all this stuff, or was it strictly those binge watching of videos?
I had done Boy Scouts for a lot of my childhood, but I've never really been in a trailer. Never honestly been really in a camper, so it was just a lot of YouTube.
And I think that's the benefit of us doing two vans. We learned a lot from our first one, and our first one we ended up it takes a lot longer than you expect to build a van, and we had no idea kind of what to expect going into it. And so we found ourselves getting pretty impatient and like wanting to travel. So we ended up just kind of traveling while we were converting it, because we didn't want to like wait till it was finished and put those adventures aside. So we did traveling while we were building it, and that gave us like a sense of things and like really like helped us decide like what we needed. And then it also helped us build the second one.
Did that affect your build plans too? Because if you're traveling and maybe you come to realize that we need something done really quick that we may not have gotten to until much later.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it was day 4 or 5 of our first big trip in the old van. And, we both looked at each other and we're like, a shower would be terrific. Like, we had not planned it in the original build. And before that trip, we did our best to kind of to create the layout. So, instead of having like a super formal countertop, we put in place like a plastic table. We just tried to create the layout that we had in our that we had dreamt up. That way we could make adjustments to it without actually having to build it and then tear it out and change things. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of experimentation that got us to the layout that we loved. And the layout that we have in this van is actually very, very similar to the last layout. So we feel like we, found a good one. We really ironed out all the little, details, and we're thrilled with it.
A lot of cool information. You talk about this being your second van now. What made you go into van number 2? Was the first one living the life expectancy you always thought it would, or you just found that you need to start fresh? What happened and what went into going into number 2?
So the first, we loved our first van. There wasn't, we don't really have many complaints, but going back to kind of versatility, we wanted it to be able to go anywhere. So four-wheel drive was a big one for us, and the first van did not have that. So we wanted to add that. We wanted a little bit bigger of a power system, so we doubled our battery size, or our battery capacity. This van is about 18 inches longer than the last one. You have a little bit more headspace. Just some small things that we made adjustments to, but we overall we're totally thrilled with the first one, and figured that we could probably make it a little bit better.
A foot and a half longer, it probably felt like a whole new home, like double the size from your previous one.
Big time, yeah.
And since we had plans to move into it full time in the next one and this one, we were like, all right, with 2 people and 2 dogs, we want the biggest van there is. We know we want to do van life, but we want the biggest one. So having those extra feet really make a big difference.
Is there anything that you've built in your van or planned for specifically for the 2 dogs that you have traveling with you? Was there anything in there for them?
Yeah, so with the height of our couch, it lines up, I would say it really meets up with the bottom of our mattress, and it allows the dogs to sleep on the couch, and they feel like they're on the bed, which is terrific for us. That way, not all 4 of us are all piled onto one bed. It keeps them off of the bed, it keeps us happy, and it's terrific. And honestly, that was a complete surprise to us. It was one of those things that just shook out at the end. You can plan for a lot, but towards the end of the build, some things are just the way that they are, and that was one of those things. But it turned out to be a total blessing. So.
Yeah, originally we thought the dogs would sleep under the desk at night because there's a good chunk of space there, and we were we'll move the table out of the way and we'll put their dog bed there, and it'll be perfect. But no, they love the couch. They're very used to, house life. And they're like, nope, we're going for the couch. Who cares about the spot on the floor? So they have claimed that as their bed, and that is their official spot. So
that is very cool. Was there anything that each of you were like, hey, we have to have in this van that maybe the other one was, yay or nay on, didn't really care too much about it? Grayson, do you have anything in there specifically for you that Harrison was maybe like, we don't really need it?
Yes. We have a full-length mirror that pulls out behind our desk and in between our dresser. And Harrison did not think it was necessary at first, but I was like, I want a mirror because I want to be able to see, before we go somewhere, I want to do a check and make sure my hair is okay or whatever. And he was like, no, that's a waste of space. But now I think we both love it.
Yeah, we do.
So tell me a little bit about the adventure series right now, Harvest Host. You can find it on the Harvest Host YouTube and harvesthosts.com. The adventure series, how did you get involved with it, and where you set it out to?
Yeah, so I actually used to work for Harvest Host, kind of in the host recruiting team. And, after I ended up leaving them, that's when I went full-time and converted the last van, and then we bought this one and converted that. And that's really, of course, where the relationship with Harvest Host was. That's where the foundation of the relationship was. And, we were fortunate enough to keep the relationship going and stay in touch, and, it blossomed into what it is.
Yeah, I think we're really excited about the adventure series because we're really excited to share the ups and downs of van life. I feel like it's really easy to see the positives about van life and what Instagram makes it out to be, but we're really excited to like show the real adventures, both the good and the bad. We have some exciting stuff planned this year and this summer, and we're really excited just to take you guys along.
Do you have a story of maybe one of those first instances where something didn't go quite right or according to plan, or maybe not something you had seen yet in your YouTube video watching, getting ready for going into this lifestyle? Like when was that first wall that you hit that you had to overcome?
We started off van life in this van by doing a ski tour, and it was a total blast. Now this van, it's fueled by diesel and not gasoline like our last one. And, for those who don't know, diesel, it has a tendency to gel up in colder temperatures. So you're going to have to add a winterizer. That way it doesn't gel up. And our heater is actually diesel powered as well. Now we had been adding winterizer, but we didn't add enough winterizer for it to prevent gelling at negative 18 degrees. So we were in Winter Park, Colorado, and, about 3 a.m., you hear the diesel heater shut off and it starts to get really, really cold. And that happened for a couple nights there. And that was, one of those first moments where it was like, okay, we have to, figure out how we can make sure we don't wake up with the van 40 degrees. Again, the dogs don't love it. We don't love it. So that was one of those moments where, you have to take a step back, reevaluate, and establish a plan for the future to make sure you're set up for success.
Yeah, those cold wake ups will do that to you, won't they?
That's for sure. Yep.
Now you are, I believe, if I don't have this mistaken, you're in the Northwest currently. Do you do a lot of traveling in the Northwest? Is that kind of where home base is, if you will, as far as your travels go?
Yeah, this summer we are basing ourselves in the San Juan Islands in Washington. We have decided to kind of slow it down a bit after a little bit of fast-paced travel. And Harrison has a seasonal job here, and so we're staying here as our home base for the summer before we pick up traveling again. And we're doing small trips, so this is our first time out on the West Coast in our van. So we're really excited about hitting some of those national parks. A few weekends ago, we did the North Cascades, and we have plans to go to the Olympic and the Mount Rainier. We're also going to try to pop up into Canada at some point this summer. So yeah.
I believe on your in your Instagram bio, you have something to the effect of all the states, all the parks. Is that a true goal for you both?
That's the goal. I think Hawaii is going to be the tricky one. We might put it on a barge and, make that the final hoorah in this van. But that's the goal.
Gotta go everywhere.
Yeah, we've hit about 13 states so far, but we plan to hit all of them.
With the adventure series, now have what folks are going to be able to see and view on this adventure series, has that happened yet? Or what they see is what's happening in real time? How delayed is what people are going to see on there, and what adventures are coming up?
I think they're pretty real time. So everything that we're doing is most happening over the summer. We film it, and then a few weeks later it is posted. So there's not a huge delay. But we are also doing flashbacks to some of the things that we have experienced and, different things that have happened along our journey up to this point.
It's exciting that folks are going to be able to see these challenges, I think, with the different types of cast and characters that are on the adventure series. That's really cool. There are some businesses on there, folks traveling in trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, folks traveling for business. And then you with the van life experience, there's all different types of campers that are traveling out there in all different types of locations too, because you guys are a little unique being at the very northwest corner of the United States. What are you most looking forward to in your travels and some of the events that you have planned up for this summer?
One of the things that I'm most excited for is the Olympic National Park. I've heard amazing things about it, so we are really looking forward to going there. And yeah, just doing things around the island and exploring the island and the other islands in the area, and just really, soaking in the island life.
And then we're also really looking forward to popping into Canada. Neither of us have ever been, so it should be great.
All right, so new adventures that folks can watch along on Harvest Host the Adventure Series. It's your time now. Harrison, Grayson, tell the people why they should be watching the Adventure Series and how can they follow along to your travels coming up this summer.
Yes, so I think the Adventure Series is really going to be a great way to tap into the adventures that we're taking this summer, as well as all of our friends in the Adventure Series, and it's going to be an awesome place for people who are doing van life or are traveling, or people who are considering it. I think it would be specifically like for those people who are kind of on the fence about whether they want to travel or kind of just trying to get into that kind of lifestyle. We hope that this is encouraging and exciting for them, and so we hope that everyone just follows along. We also are on Instagram, and we like to share our journey on there as well. Our Instagram is @Grayson_and_Harrison.
All right, so we can follow along to the travels in van number 2 of Grayson and Harrison as they travel along the Northwest and beyond. You can follow along on Harvest Host the Adventure Series. This has been awesome. Grayson, Harrison, thank you so much for telling our scouts and our community members what's going on in van life and what's going on with the Adventure Series from Harvest Host.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you.